We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
Welcome to Unsolicited, where I make videos about things that nobody asked me to. Will and Jada are one of the most prominent, long-standing couples in Hollywood. They've been married for 25 years, and their relationship has been the envy of many, and were considered the pinnacle of black love. That is, until we started learning too much of their business. Let's start from the beginning. Sometime in the early 90s, Will met a young 19-year-old Jada Pinkett from Baltimore, who at the time had already been in the movie Menace to Society and was a character on A Different World. Jada auditioned to play Will's TV girlfriend on The Fresh Prince, but didn't get the role because they thought that she was too short. Will is 6'2" and Jada is only 5 feet tall, so the role went to actress Nia Long. In his book, Will says that he first saw Jada while he was sitting with Alfonso Ribeiro outside the Fresh Prince casting office. He saw her coming out of the office upset because she didn't get the role. He came up to her, said what's up, but she was not checking for him and brushed him off. But Will really wanted to find a way to see Jada again, so Alfonso told him that he knew a guy that knew her. And A Different World taped on Thursday while the Fresh Prince taped on Friday. So on a Thursday, Alfonso and Will rolled up to the taping of A Different World. At the taping, the guy who Alfonso knew that was supposed to introduce Will to Jada was sitting next to a different girl that caught Will's interest. So instead of meeting Jada, Will ended up meeting his first wife, Cherie Zampino. They left the taping together, and 3 months later, they were married. And on November 11th, 1992, their son Willard Carroll Smith III was born, who we all know as Trey. He's called Trey because he's the third Willard Smith. Throughout the years, Will had run into Jada from time to time, and it was always good energy, but nothing too memorable. Eventually, Will and Cherie reached a point in their marriage where they were fighting all the time. They would go days without speaking to each other. It was not good. One night, Will went to a gathering thrown by Tisha Campbell and Dwayne Martin, and Jada happened to be there. They talked all night for hours and hours, and Will knew that Jada was the one. And Jada later said that she heard a voice in her head telling her that night that this is your husband. Then, the day after the amazing conversation that he had had with Jada the night before, Will went out to dinner with Cherie and had a realization in the bathroom stall.
And we were at the Palm. And I remember I had to get up from dinner when I had a realization that I wasn't with the person I was supposed to be with.
But you would have stayed with her forever.
Forever. I would have never gotten divorced.
Yep.
I went in the bathroom at the Palm and I broke down in tears. And I was sitting in a stall in the restaurant and I was crying uncontrollably and then laughing like, what the heck is wrong with me? And I was crying and laughing. I knew that was the woman I was supposed to be with, but I was never getting divorced.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get divorced.
Even though Will knew that Cherie wasn't the one for him, divorce wasn't an option, and he was not about to break the promise that he made to God and to Cherie in his vows. But Cherie ended up pulling the plug on their marriage and filed for divorce. She felt that Will didn't really love her, he just loved the idea of having a wife, and she was just a placeholder, a check on the list of things included in Will's perfect life. Will received the divorce papers on Valentine's Day, ironically, and he fought with Cherie a little bit, saying, no, we can't get a divorce, blah blah blah, whoop-de-whoop. But then she hit him with, are you really going to make someone stay with you who doesn't love you? And immediately, he walked out of the house and called Jada, who had left Hollywood and was living in Baltimore at the time. He asked her if she was seeing anyone. She said no, and he said, okay, cool, you're seeing me now. Because Will and Jada got together so quickly after Will ended things with Cherie, there was definitely some tension between Cherie and Jada.
The beginning between us was rough. And here's the one thing I will say in hindsight. Because I did not understand marriage, I didn't understand divorce. I will say that I probably should have fell back.
Do you remember that conversation that we had on the phone that time?
I do.
It was fighting words.
Very few times in my life I can recall being checked real hard where I didn't have nothing to say. You did that.
I did?
Yes, but he picked up the phone and I wasn't really respectful. Trey was at the house, so I'm calling to talk to Trey.
Right.
But I had to go through you to get to him.
Okay, got
You
it.
answered the phone.
Got it.
So you basically let me know I don't really appreciate your tone. And I was like,
I don't care.
It don't matter. And you hung up on me.
Oh, girl.
I called back and I happened to say, quote, you living in a house I picked out. You said, it's my house now.
Even though it started out rocky at first, Will, Cherie, and Jada were all able to have a healthy co-parenting relationship that they still maintain to this day. But Cherie wasn't the only problem that Will and Jada had during the early stages of their relationship. Early in their relationship, Will had some serious jealousy toward Jada's good friend Tupac.
Jada's my heart, you know what I mean? She will be my friend for my whole life.
Well, maybe I'll be down to scoop you up later in life. You ain't all shriveled up.
We'll be all together.
Be like Ozzie Davis and Ruby D.
Vic, you know you always got a place in my heart.
She can have my one heart, my liver, my lungs, my kidneys, my blood, marrow, all of that.
He was one of my best friends. He was like a brother. It was beyond friendship. And it's really difficult to explain because the type of relationship we had, you only get that once in a lifetime. So he was like a brother, father figure to me.
Jada and Tupac met back in Baltimore when they both went to the same school for the arts. They were very close and loved each other, but it has been made very clear many times that their relationship was strictly platonic. Despite this, Will said he had a raging jealousy towards Tupac. I mean, who wouldn't? It's Tupac.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Yeah. You know, they grew up together and, you know, they loved each other, but they never had that, you know, they never had a sexual relationship. Yeah. But she just loved him like he was the image of perfection, but she was with the Fresh Prince. Like, even we were in a room together a couple times, I couldn't speak to him, you know, and, you know, he wasn't going to speak to me if I wasn't going to speak to him. I couldn't handle it, you know. I was the soft rapper from Philly, right. And he was Pac.
Right. Will said that it was almost a sick victory for him when Jada started pulling away from Tupac as she was growing closer to Will. And by the time Tupac died in 1996, he and Jada had had a blowout fight and they weren't on speaking terms, which broke Jada's heart.
When I heard about Pac passing away, I remember my knees buckling and Will having to catch me. I was just in total shock. That was a huge loss in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he was one of those people that I expected to be here. My upset is more anger. And so when I think about it, I still get really mad. I get mad at God. I get mad at him. Mm-hmm. I get mad at everybody.
Right.
2 years into their relationship, Jada got pregnant with their son Jaden, which was really stressful, and Jada felt like her life was over. Because she was pregnant, there was pressure for her and Will to get married. But Jada didn't really believe in the construct of marriage, but her mom and Will did, so they got married. Not only did Jada not want to get married, she certainly did not want to have a wedding. But as her mother's only child, her mom really wanted her to have a wedding, so she did. Jada was 3 months pregnant at their wedding on December 31st, 1997. They had their son Jaden in 1998 and their daughter Willow in 2000. Throughout the years, their marriage has had ups and downs, and there were times where they weren't happy, even though to the public it seemed that they had the perfect relationship. Will is a big famous movie star, and that overshadowed Jada. Will was out filming movies and living his dream, while Jada was home taking care of their children, so her dreams were put on hold. Jada had an appreciation for the simple things in life, and even though they had all the money in the world, a house that Will built from the ground up for her and named a lake after her, she wasn't happy. When Will called Jada that day, telling her that they were going to be together, she had already bought a house in Baltimore on a farm, and she left Hollywood, and that was going to be her life. But then she got with Will, and the course of her life changed. And she says she has no regrets about that, but not everything that glitters is gold. And just because you're rich and famous doesn't automatically mean that you're satisfied. Will and Jada have always been very private, which means that people speculate. There's been tons of rumors throughout the years about their relationship and what really goes on. Around 2011, when Jada was starring on Hawthorne, there was rumors that she was having an affair with J-Lo's now ex-husband, Mark Anthony. And around 2013, there were rumors that Will was having an affair with his Focus co-star, Margot Robbie. On many different occasions, the media speculated that Will and Jada were getting divorced or that they had an open marriage. There was even a time when the media thought that they were swingers. And Will and Jada have denied all of these claims, but behind the scenes, their marriage wasn't all rainbows and giggles. Things between Will and Jada hit a major breaking point when Will decided to throw Jada a huge 40th birthday party.
The day after her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love, and we did it. I had found tapes of Jada's grandmother, and her grandmother had recorded these voice messages over the last 8 months of her life.
Wow.
And it was tapes that Jada had never heard.
Wow.
So Jada had to sit there and listen. She's listening to these never before heard tapes of one of the dearest people she's ever known in her life in front of all of these people. And she's having a really difficult emotional time. And then when we got back to the room, we were talking about the next day, and there were things planned for the next day, and she said, I'm not sure I want to do anything the next day. You can just cancel it. And I said, well, let's keep it, and then tomorrow you can decide. She was like, I'm telling you now I don't want to do anything tomorrow. And I said, well, it's okay. We'll just wait and see.
I just wanted to have intimate
Just
time.
intimate time. She was like, it's my birthday. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego. It wasn't a party for her.
Yeah. The aftermath of Jada's 40th birthday ultimately led to Will and Jada separating for a period of time. They both decided that they needed to try and be happy separately before they could reconcile and be happy together. So that's what they did.
What happened was we realized that it was a fantasy illusion that we could make each other happy. We agreed that she had to make herself happy and I had to make myself happy. And then we were going to present ourselves back to the relationship already happy versus demanding that the other person fill our empty cup.
During this period of separation, Jada began a romantic relationship with singer August Alcina. Jada and August first met back in 2015 at the Wireless Festival in London. She was 43 and August was 22 at the time. In 2017, we see August and Jada attend the BET Awards together looking real cozy. In 2018, August was a guest on Jada's show Red Table Talk. In 2019, August released a video for his remix to Kehlani's song Nunya, and the concept of the video is a text conversation that August is having with someone named Corinne. And guess what Jada's middle name is? August even used a gif of Jada in the video after the line, "You're just an actress." At the time though, August denied that the song was about Jada, but it's pretty obvious. Then 2020 rolls around and everything is revealed. August sat down with Angela Yee and admitted to having a relationship with Jada.
My truth. I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly and really, really deeply loved and have a ton of love for her. I devoted myself to it. I gave my full self to it. So much so to the point that I can die right now and be okay with knowing that I truly gave myself to somebody.
This announcement set the internet on fire, so of course Jada had to respond. And so she brought herself to the red table and sat down with Will to discuss her entanglement.
What?
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely. I was in a lot of pain and I was very broken. Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself.
What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good. Mm-hmm. It had been so long since I felt good. And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
Jada talked about how her and August were there for each other when they were both going through rough times. August has had a pretty rough life. He's lost the lives of a lot of people really close to him. He's had issues with substance abuse, and he's also battling some health issues. He was a project for Jada to fix, and a lot of people felt that Jada was selfish and took advantage of his vulnerability. Everyone took Will's side and was hating on Jada for supposedly breaking Will's heart, even though Jada is not the only person in that marriage who's had an entanglement. Will be having entanglements too. His are just more on the low. Eventually though, Jada and August ended their fling and they moved on with no hard feelings. Will and Jada got back together and moved forward with their marriage, or as they call it, life partnership.
We refer to ourselves as life partners, right? Where you get into that space when you realize you are literally with somebody for the rest of your life. There's no deal breakers. There's nothing she could do, ever. Nothing that would break our relationship. She has my support till death. And it feels so good to get to that space where you're not complaining and worrying and demanding that a person be a certain thing so you feel better about yourself, right? It's friendship versus marital prison.
We have found so much happiness in our union in a way that's very different than most.
It's like whatever she needs, she can count on me for the rest of her life.
And vice versa. To me, it gives us the freedom to create a different context, first of all, for ourselves, and not have to live up to the expectation of what people consider marriage to be.
25 years and counting.
We ride together,
we die together.
Bad marriage for life.
It's clear that Will and Jada have their own definition of marriage that is very untraditional. No matter how they define their relationship and how unconventional they are, what has always been true is that Will and Jada have a strong bond, and at the end of the day, their love for each other prevails, and they're going to ride and die for each other until the end.
There have been several occasions, okay, where you just had enough. And you want to leave. And I just couldn't. Or Will just couldn't, because we knew this is what is meant to be, this partnership, no matter what the form it is, you know, because we've had to redefine it, reform it. Will has loved me through the worst of myself, and I have done the same. I always knew I'm not marriage material. What I am is a ride or die chick.
What you are is the best friend that I've ever had. You know why I never got divorced? Because I've never met anybody like you, and I knew if I wasn't with you, I'd be searching in vain for the rest of my life.
Aw, Willard. I love you to death. I love you.
We love you, baby.
Well, that's it. That's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. All the things that YouTubers be telling people to do, and I'll see you next time. Bye.